Okay. Let's make sure that my audio is still working. My audio is still working. Alrighty. Just waiting for the live stream to pop up. And I think it's popping up now. Yep, it is. Okay, so there's a significant delay. That's okay. All right. So we're good. All right, so I don't know how this is going to go. Every time I do a live stream, I'm very nervous. I don't understand why, but I just am. But we're going to try and do what we can do here. Anyway, let me put this over here so I can see. There we go. I can see my own ugly mug now. All right, so anyway, for those of you who saw the last live stream, things did not go very well. I was trying to do a Windows 11 upgrade on my gaming system, and for whatever reason, it bombed. I tried a few things, it just kept on bombing. So, long story short, we're going to do a fresh install of Windows 11 and Linux Mint, and hopefully I can remember all of the steps I have to do that, because it's been a while. I'm going to be replacing the 2 terabyte drive that's in here with a 4 terabyte. So this literally will be a fresh install. I've got my little doohickey here to do my PCData backup stuff, to try to get the profile saved, and then I'm going to load it onto the 11 system when we do that. So let me get this thing up and running for the moment here. Give me a second. I should have powered this up beforehand, but I didn't, so that's on me. Oop, power cord would help. There we go. That's better. Okay, so let me power this up. And let's go to here and bring up the, nope, not the 4K is there. Let's get that off the screen. Let's get that off the screen. I'm just waiting for this thing to come on. There it goes. I see lights on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. That's better. All right. So let me switch over here. All right. So we got the system up and running. Let me get in here. I'll apologize for the size of everything because I've got this set to 1440p. So things will be a little small here, but we'll get it straightened out here. Let me change the display. Let's move this to, I think 150. Yeah, 150 looks like it would probably work. So that's fine. Let me plug in my drive. Go. That should bring up, yeah, the prompt for that. That's fine. I'm going to go into here. And come on, you're in here somewhere. There you are. Go to C. We're going to use this program again. I did a previous stream on this particular piece of software when I was transferring from one laptop to another. It seemed to do the job adequately, so I'm going to do it again. If I can get this pointer to sit where I want it to sit. Apparently not. All right, screw it. All right, so let's do this. Let's do this. Need to move this over so I can see. I'm going to start a backup. Now, all I'm going to really do is I'm just going to do the profile with all the associated data. I'm going to back all that up. I'm not going to worry about any of the game files. There's over 1 terabyte worth of game files on this system, and to back that up would take at least probably a couple of hours doing this. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to back up the profile. I'm going to shut this down, pull the old drive out, put the new drive in, and we're going to do fresh installs. So that's essentially what we're going to wind up doing here. So this should not take long just to do the profile. So we're going to create the backup on that very same drive, D, and we're just going to let it go, do what it needs to do. And this, like I said, this should not take very long. So while we're waiting for this, I'm going to go over and look at the chat and see who showed up today. Let's see here. Tony Wallow was first. Tony, as always, thank you very much for everything that you have allowed me to do. Karen Stout is here. John Williams is here. George Armstrong is here. Who else? Ken, you changed your name? Okay, I don't understand why. Karen Gilham's here. Bloody hell. Here, okay. Alrighty. Rick Bikes is here. All right. I think that rounds it out. Yeah, okay. That rounds it out. All right, so anyway, again, this shouldn't take too long. So if you guys have anything you want to discuss or any questions you might have, feel free. And again, of course, since I'm doing this live, and my last, I think, 2 live streams, maybe 3, have wound up being disasters, I'm not sure what to expect today. Abdul Azim Patel, hello, sir. How are you? Average boy. I haven't seen Abdul's name in a long time. I remember the name, but it's been a very, very long time since I think I've seen you on any stream, come to think of it. But welcome in. The thing is with this system is that it is my main gaming system, but there's not a lot. I don't keep a lot of stuff on any of my machines that's critical or quote unquote important. The only things that I'm concerned about as far as what this is backing up are my Firefox stuff, bookmarks, passwords, whatever, and Thunderbird email. Just the email. And I know from previous experience that it takes care of all that, so I shouldn't have to worry about it. Building a PC soon. Nervous. Yeah, well, if it's your first one, yeah, it's always you're always nervous. The only advice I can give you is just like take deep breaths and take your time. That's all I can really tell you what to do. Is you take deep breaths every so often. If something doesn't seem right, step back, look at it again, and you'll probably be okay. So, yeah, this shouldn't take long. I think the actual user profile, I don't think it's more than about 60 gig. I don't remember off the top of my head. I didn't bother to look. But yeah, this should not take a long time. Like if I was trying to do like back up all the gaming files at the same time of doing this, I made a test run of that a couple of days ago. 2 hours. And I am not going to subject you or me to that during a live stream. And again, that's because there's over 1 terabyte of gaming files on this system. What I'll wind up doing instead of, well, what I'm hoping to do, is that once I get the new drive in place, I'll put the old drive in an enclosure and I'll plug it in, and then I will manually copy the gaming files over. And hopefully once I reinstall Steam and all the other clients and whatever the hell, hopefully it'll go, oh yeah, we see all the gaming files, have a nice day, and everything will be fine. Stealth mode, hello. Yeah, I just don't recognize this name. Sorry, I'm gonna lean in here because I need to try to read the chat here. I am not sure how to even begin to pronounce that. Isabel Danny? I'm taking a guess. That's a name I don't think I've seen before. Yeah, building a computer is for the most part, it's adult Legos. You're putting pieces together. It's really all you're doing. Word of advice, take it for what you will. If this is your first build, make sure that you build up the motherboard and test everything before you put it in the case. You don't want to put everything together, put it in the case, and then suddenly find out you have a problem. No. Motherboard, RAM, drive, cooler, assuming it's an air cooler. You probably want to put that all together, put it on the table, plug up a power supply into it, fire it up, and make sure that it at least posts. Because if it doesn't do that at that point, and you've already got it in the case, you got to go through all the crap of getting it out again. Greg M, hello. Ryan Caesar. Okay, I don't think that's a name I've seen before. Hello. Linux Mint. I'm doing Linux Mint. I don't do a lot with Linux. I know enough to install it, and I probably know enough to be dangerous. Linux Mint for me seems to be the reasonable choice. Just feel like you're watching Doug. Okay, all right. Now, you know, there's no reason to insult me. There's no reason. Don't be that way. So, I'm probably going to have to take the graphics card out because it's a little tight in there. That's what she said. So yeah, it's going to have to come out. And yeah, if your first build is all new parts, yeah, you shouldn't have issues. It's when you buy used parts or questionable parts and start putting them together. Yeah, that could cause an issue. Yep, Greg's pointing out. Yeah, I've actually done that. Believe it or not, I've actually done that within the past couple of years. I've managed to get one of the little tabs stuck into one of the ports. They didn't short anything out, but when I went to plug something in, it's like, the hell? Ah, oh, damn. So yeah, if you have a separate I/O shield that you have to put in, just make sure those tabs don't get stuck in the ports. They can cause issues. Every once in a while, even I do that. So. So as you can, oh yeah, I forgot about it. Does the download folder? That's probably the largest one right there. Yeah, the download folder. That's going to take a bit. Well, I tried to clean it up as best I could, but it's never clean enough. Ryan, I spend just enough time in Linux to do the updates. And typically on Mint, that also includes the kernel. So yeah, like I would say like roughly about once a month. Once a month, I'll boot to the Linux partition and, I'll do a couple things in there and I'll mess around and whatever. And usually there's updates, and I take care of all those. Don't know that feeling. Yeah, yeah, Ken. Yeah, we all know about you and your downloads folder. And then, of course, what's that? Was it 2 terabytes of on the desktop? Yeah, don't go there. Don't go there. What's that thing about people in glass houses? Don't go there. So anyway, let's see what we got. It's what we got. Look, we got 19 watching. I guess that's not bad. Well, yeah, I know that it's gotten better. But you got stuff everywhere. Desktop 113. Well, that's certainly a crap load less than it was, I know for sure. Because I remember I think when you started, what was it? Some ridiculous 700 plus, if I remember correctly. Something in that neighborhood, I think. So, yeah, this is, like I said, this stuff takes a little while. But while we're waiting for that, anything you guys want to talk about, let me know. Oh, anybody else got an opinion about the free extended support deal? I got my opinions, but I don't know that you want to hear them. Oh yeah, Ken's desktop folder. It was, yeah. Some of us were just like on the floor. So yeah. Just gonna pay the 30. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be doing any of that because there's only, let's see. Yes, there's only a single thing left in this house that does not have the hardware. Oh, there we go. We're done finally. Okay, so that's done. Close this. We're going to close this. All right, so I'm going to shut this down at this point and get that other drive out. So let me go back here. Do this. Okay. Then I'm going to go over here and I want to have this up and running. There we go. Okay, so anyway, that's where we're at. Is this in? It's in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to zoom that out just a little bit. Okay, so unplug this drive here. Get that off of there. That out. That out. All right. Okay. Now, if this is not really positioned correctly, go over here to this. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Toot, toot, toot. There we go. Toot. Oh, come on, camera. Give me a hard way to go. So anyway, let me go over here. All right, so I got to get this out of here. So I love this case, by the way. Those of you who did not see the live stream where I built this, this is a Lian Li A3 something or other. It's a micro ATX case. All the panels basically snap. So, very nice. Now, I do have to take out this bracket, give myself some room. So, this bracket here's got to come out. So that's got to come out. That's number one. Put that aside. Okay. Let me get this other camera up here a little bit. There we go. All right, so brackets out. I got to take the card out because the drive is right here, and it's a little crowded in here. So let's get that out. That out. Now, release is down here somewhere. See if I can get at it. Yeah, I can get at it. There we go. All right. So that's out. So there we go. Now I've got plenty of room. So I don't think that one's going to fit there. Let's try this one. Yeah, that'll go. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to take this guy out. And that is a Silicon Power 2 terabyte there. Not a bad drive. It's not a bad drive. But there's something going on with this drive that it wouldn't do the Windows 11 update or upgrade. A day or two later, I tried to do an image of this drive because I knew I was going to redo everything, and then it was only after I thought about that I'm like, okay, whatever. So I tried to do an image of Macro Reflect, and Macro Reflect bombed. So there's something going on here that I'm not fully understanding what, but we're going to solve that problem with a Crucial P3, 4 terabyte. I picked this up months ago, and I want to say it was about $218 on Amazon, somewhere in that neighborhood for 4 terabyte. I'm like, okay. All right, so the way that I believe that this still works is that let's see, it goes that way. I think it goes that way. Excuse me. That was a good one. I believe that's the way I took it off. So we're going to try and see if we can get this to get on there without too much trouble. Okay. I don't know. I don't. That doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. Hang on a second here. You see where this was originally. Hang on a second. Yeah. I think it goes this way. Like I said, we'll find out. If I don't get it right, the screw won't tighten up. Okay. All right, feels like it's there. Yeah, I think that's the right way in. I didn't bother to notice if I put it in backwards or not. I don't think I did. I think that's the way it goes in. What is that all about? It's nothing. William's office. Wrong way? Is it? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. The way I think I put it on the opposite of way I think it's supposed to be. Yeah, you're right. Not a big deal, I don't think. But yeah, I think I remember that the lettering was much more visible. Yep. Yeah, okay. Good catch. Good catch. There it goes. Yeah, that actually feels like that's probably closer to being right. Okay. All right. All right, let me, I'm just going to pause here for a second and go. Yeah, Greg, I'm under the same impression that, yeah, Microsoft account, whether just, yeah. Okay, Zvi Manur, hello, sir. I'm just scrolling back through the chat, so just bear with me a minute, guys. Just seeing what's going on. Okay. Yeah, there are many, yeah, John's right. There are many ways to test, and everyone has their own technique. Yeah, everybody does. See, I'm just looking through here. I'm just trying to see what there are here. Yeah. Yeah. Writing is on the heat is upside down. Okay. Yep. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Stealth mode. I have a RX 7800 XT in the system. I bought it. It's been, I think, roughly about a year ago. I want to say it cost me about $480. Good luck finding one these days. It's been, I think it's, well, I'm sure they stopped production because you have the 9070 XT out at this point. Okay. From Switzerland. Okay, cool. All right, so anyway, what I'll do with this drive later is I'll stick it into an enclosure, and then I'll transfer the game files, because we don't want to be here doing that. That'll take forever. All right, so drive's installed. Everything else should be good. There's nothing on that drive. I made sure that it was wiped clean. So this will be a fresh install. All right, so let's get this bad boy back in here. Feels like it's in there. Let's get this secured in here. Go. All right, that's secured. And make sure I kind of move these around. I never did any cable management in here, unfortunately. I'm lazy. But it's a mesh case, and you really can't see anything. I purposely did not put any RGB on this. The only RGB in the system is or whatever's on the board. So when it's sitting on the shelf, which is where I keep it, get my hand under here just to be safe. There we go. All right, so that's in. Okay, so old drive out, new drive in, card back in place. Everything should be good. All right, he says. We'll find out. All right, so let's put our bracket back in. Back in, put the cover back on. Go. All right, upsy daisy we go. Let's change over this to here. There we go. All right, put that back on there. That's okay. So everything's in there. Okay. Let's get our HDMI plugged back in. Let's get our power plugged back in. Let's take our Windows 11 flash drive, get that plugged in. Let's change this up. Alrighty. Let's go here. Let's power on. And it should boot from that flash drive and give us the Windows 11 deal. But we'll see. There it goes. All right, let me get this over on one of my monitors here so I can see what's going on. There we go. Boot up the installation. Okay. So let me put this back down where it belongs. There we go. All right. So English, United States. Next. Keyboard, yes. Install 11. Okay, we have to agree to that. That's new. I downloaded this ISO 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. So it's the most current one I think that's available. I've never seen this particular screen, but okay, whatever. Product key, don't have a product key, didn't have a product key for the previous one. I've been running 10 without a product key for like 3-4 years. It doesn't freaking matter. Pro, which is what the original one was. Yeah, so I defy anybody to read all of this garbage and actually understand it, for that matter too. that's the flash drive. There's the unallocated right there, and it's already highlighted, so we're just going to hit next. And let it do its thing. We'll see how fast this goes. Yes, install the Pro, keep nothing. There's nothing on the drive. I made sure there was nothing on the drive. I wiped it. All right, so we'll let that go. And while that's going on, I'll come back to the chat, see what's going on. Ready to do. Okay, yes, located in Switzerland. That's where I left off. Still on 60. That's a 6550, or am I reading something wrong? RX 650 XT? Something's wrong. I think that's supposed to be a 6650 XT. Is that what that's supposed to be, Anthony? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 6650 XT. Okay, he corrected that. All right. I'm not sure if that question is for me or somebody else. Anthony, you asking if I run FT8 on this? No, I don't. There's a computer off here in the corner that has it's attached to all the ham radio stuff. That's a separate machine. This is my main gaming system, which goes upstairs in one of the main rooms. That Donut King? No, I'm not doing 10 IoT. I do gaming. I do gaming and I do regular stuff. There's no reason for me to do this. I have current hardware. There is a single machine in here that does not qualify for 11, and it's a 5th generation Intel laptop. That's the only thing left in this house that doesn't qualify. All right, here comes the fun part. We're going to see which one of the methods is going to work here to set up the local account. I don't recommend anybody who is a home user play with IoT, LTS. I don't recommend any home user use that kind of crap. I'm sorry. Enterprise, they're welcome to do it, but as a home user, absolutely not. Oh, John, you got lucky. All the hardware. Well, you may or may not have gotten lucky. It depends on the age of the hardware. But on the surface, it sounds good. Family Drive, Linux Mint. Yeah, that one, a MacBook Pro. Okay, that's interesting. I'm guessing that's an Intel MacBook Pro and not an M1 or M2. All right, here comes the moment of truth. Yeah, it would have to be Intel. I don't think Linux will install on an M series Mac of any kind. I could be wrong, but I don't think it does. All right, so let's see. Let's go through the motions here. This one here, and this one here. Skip that. Okay, so there we go. All right, so let's see if the one I've been using forever still works. So Shift F10. Make sure that this is focused. OBE \bypass NRO. Let's see if this still works. Apparently it still works. Okay, that's fine. So that's still in position. There's been chatter that Microsoft is removing that. They haven't removed it yet. Like I said, I downloaded this ISO 2-3 days ago. So it's reasonably fresh. All right, so we got to go through this again, which is fine. I don't care. It's a minor inconvenience. Ooh, trying to help a new user installing Mint 22.1 via communicating on Mint Discourse. Oh, wow. That's, you've got to have a lot of patience. I don't know that I have that kind of patience. But my hat's off to you for doing that. Okay, there we go. Don't have internet. For now, I'm not going to bother with the password. All right, we're going to take off everything except location. All right, so I can unplug the flash drive. I don't need that anymore. That's fine. That I don't need. Anthony, the reasons you would use Rufus is if you're doing a fresh install of Windows 11 on unsupported hardware. Because if you use that ISO just as it is, you don't do anything to it, and you want to do a fresh install, it will stop you because it'll look at the hardware and it'll go, no, I don't think so, and it'll stop you cold. There are several other hacks that you can do. There's a registry hack that I saw recently on somebody's YouTube channel where you, while it's sitting at the screen, you hit the F10, you run regedit, and you make some changes. It's like there's a, what do they call it? I can't remember what they call it. There's a key that you have to add, and then within that key there are like 4 things you have to add in there, and then it will let you go. Rufus takes care of that for you. So, all right, let's plug in the Ethernet. That should populate shortly. Okay. There it goes. So we now have connection. All right, so let's go here. Let's go to, where is it? Let's go to system first. We're going to go down here. Okay, so here you can see it doesn't properly detect the video card. That's fine. 7600X, 32 gig. Now there's our 4 terabyte drive. So let's go to Windows Update. Let's do these here. Let's just double check and make sure that everything's up. Okay, so it's going to download all that stuff. All right, now one of these I've got here is, I don't think it's that one. I really should label I have too many flash drives. I really should label them. All right, so let me check which one this one is. No, that's not the right one. I can tell by the way it came up. I think it's this one. Double check. I think it's that one. I'm not sure. Yeah, that should be Mint right there. That should be Mint. Okay, so that should be, that's what we'll do, I guess, next. But anyway, I just want to get the Windows updates out of the way. Then I'm going to put the profile back on. Actually, what I want to do is I probably want to rename this system back to what it was previously. So while we're waiting for that, let's see what else. Let me go through chat again. On an old ProBook. Okay. I'm just looking through here, guys. Yeah, Ryan, I've done dual boot systems before. I'm not sure if you can tell by my appearance. I'll be 65 next month. I've been around the block a little bit. Please run WinVer. Okay, I don't see why, but okay. There you go. 24H2. There's the build. All right, so that's completed. That's completed. Some of the stuff for it. That's the other thing. I've got to do all the chipset driver stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm going to have to do, but I just want to get essentially the basics done. That's the driver installing for the graphics. There we go. That's installed. Okay. Pending restart, retry. Yeah, AMD. Yeah, it's because those things were probably installing in the background. Okay. So let's do restart now. John Williams 69 next month for you. Okay. Well, in August, my wife turns 73. So she's got us all beat. Okay. Well, that was relatively quick, wasn't it? Okay. So that was relatively quick. All right. Let's plug in the drive here. Okay. So let me pull out the Linux Mint guy. I don't need that right now. We'll get there, but we're not there yet. Okay, so got the drive plugged in. We're going to go ahead and now the one thing I've noticed, I've done this once or twice for other people. The thing I've noticed is that for some reason, if you just click on this and try and run it and do the restore, it says it's completed like within 2 minutes. And it's like, no, that's not it. So I found that run as administrator seems to be required. Why? I don't know. Hit a restore now. Should be that guy right there. Okay, only restore missing files. And I believe that should be it. Let me just, I got my mug in the way here. Yeah, okay. So restore now. And this again will take a while to do. See, I've been putting this off because I didn't want to deal with what I'm dealing with. I didn't want to have to go through all this crap. This is going to be a process. This is going to be probably at least a several day process. And I had put it off, constantly putting it off, and I have to bite the bullet. Got to get it done. Plus, even if I had been able to do the 10 to 11 upgrade, if it had gone successfully in the previous stream, there's still an awful lot of cruft still in that system. I mean, I've been running that Windows 10 installation is easily 3 years old, maybe 4 or 5. And it's been moved at least once and probably twice into different systems. So the drive has been through some things. And the fact that it bombed doing the update, I'm not entirely surprised at. So this will take care of that. There'll be no cruft. This will be everything back to quote unquote baseline. Yeah, welcome to Procrastinators Club. You're absolutely right, Greg. You're absolutely correct, without question. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good at that. I don't know that I could be the president of the club, but I'm pretty good at that. Anthony's got to go. Anthony, thank you for stopping by at least. Appreciate it. It says there's 26 current viewers. All righty. Long dog alone. Let's see, anybody else I missed? I don't think there's anybody else new. I think I got everybody. Let me just scroll back through. No, I use Mint, Long Dog. I use Mint. Cinnamon, I'm sorry. I use Cinnamon. I don't do any of the other. Cinnamon, I'm comfortable with it. Seven kids, John? Jesus. My grandmother, I want to say, was the youngest of 10 or 12. And I can't imagine that. That blows my mind. 7 kind of blows my mind, but good, strong Catholic Italian family. Brian's still in his 30s. I think this is the part where I go, get off my lawn, kid. Flood warning. At my location, yeah, there was. I don't know if it's still in effect or not, but yeah, earlier there was. I'm on sufficiently high ground here, so that's not a concern. Not where I'm physically at. It's not a concern. Further down, like Delaware is very flat for most of the state. When you start getting up into, did it just? I think it just, yeah, it just screensaver. Delaware's pretty flat. Most of the state is anywhere from 25 to 100 feet above sea level. Most of the state. When you start getting up into the county I'm at the topmost county. Then the terrain starts to rise. I am very close to the highest point in Delaware, which isn't all that high. It's about 420 feet above sea level, and pretty much everything else around me is lower. So flash flood and flood advisories and that kind of thing don't really affect me. I mean, if it rains hard enough, yes, we'll get water running down the street and whatever the heck, but yeah, flash flooding, no. Well, Long Dog, that's my problem. I mean, I use Linux occasionally. I understand I think I understand where its strengths are for the most part. But the biggest problem that you're going to find, and this is the argument I have all the time, and I'm sure I'm going to upset some people now. The biggest argument I have with people who are Linux fanboys, if you will, is that there are so many combinations on Linux. Now, I understand that's also a strength, but you have so much flexibility. But it's also a problem when you've got, at least 3 dozen distributions that I think I'm aware of, and there are God knows how many Windows managers. And a lot of them you can mix and match, so that there's nothing on the desktop. There's nothing consistent, if you will. Windows is Windows. It's Windows. Very much like Mac. Mac OS is Mac OS. No matter what you put it on, no matter whatever, it's Mac OS. So, and I think that's one of, to me, that's one of Linux's problems, is there's so many things to choose from. If you're trying to help somebody with Linux, and let's say, for example, you're on Arch and they're on Ubuntu, or they're on Zorin, or they're on, Jesus, I can't even think of all of them. And somebody else is on a different distro, the things you're telling him to do may not be done the same way on the other distribution. And that, to me, is a problem. Now you notice the background came back. So it's, again, this is a process, and this is, again, part of the reason why I've been putting this off for so long. It's because of this. It takes a while. As much as you see what's going on here, and let's see, I've been streaming for just about an hour. By the time I get to the point where Linux Mint is installed, then I've got to go in and change the boot order, which I don't remember exactly how to do. I'll find it. Then I'm probably not going to do it on the stream. There are articles that are available. As a matter of fact, while I'm thinking of it, let me see if I can pull one up now. Again, this is the problem. I I know how to install a dual boot system. I know how to navigate around Linux, but I don't do it every day. I play with it on average once a month so that I forget how to do things. Okay, so supposedly that's done. So we'll close that. We'll close that. I can pull this drive out. I don't need this one anymore. Obviously, all the icons are missing. That'll get resolved. So we'll put that aside. And, excuse me. Ugh, I don't really want to do this, but I'll do it anyway. All right, you do me a favor and shut the hell up. Thank you. Pain in the ass. Anyway. Oh, well, I'm thinking of it. There's Firefox. Thank you. All right, I gotta, hold on. I gotta take myself out of the picture because I can't see. Oh my God. There we go. Now, it should pick up. All right, I'm gonna just do that. I'm gonna just do a reinstall. It should pick up the profile that's there in the app data so that when I bring it back up, when I do bring it up, it should have all of my stuff. So yeah, there we go. Okay. So yes, it brought up all of my stuff. So that's done. That's done. Let me go in here. Hit done here. Let me do this real quick. Let me see where we're at here on display settings. Oh God, 300%, no. 150 should be more than sufficient. Oh, you know why? It's on 4K. Dumbass. Yeah, because I have it plugged into the 4K port on the capture card. There we go. Okay. And let's change this to 150 so everybody can see what's going on. There we go. Okay. So that's one down. Now we're going to go back to we're going to do Thunderbird. Save. Okay. Close that for now. Hit that. Hit that. Close this for now. And same thing. Thunderbird, when it installs, should pick up the profile that I already have, all of my email. And if it doesn't, again, I still have the data on the drive, so I'm not concerned. So there's all the email. All of my stuff is right there. Have a nice day. It's downloading stuff already. Boom, 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 boom. Hello, have a nice day. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. There we go. All right, so everybody's fat, dumb, and happy. There you go. The only two things I ever care about. a web browser and my email. That's it. Those are the only two things that I concern myself with. Bring my ugly mug back on the screen. There we go. So there we go. We're there. Okay, now let me double check because I never can keep my head straight. Yeah, okay, that should be the right one. Yeah, that should be the Linux Mint one. So we're gonna go ahead and close this. All right, now we're gonna go in here and we're gonna hold down the Shift key when we hit the restart. Let me go back to chat here. John AOL. No, I don't use AOL. However, Verizon for a number of years had its own email servers. So when you had a Verizon.net account, it was their servers. At some point, I don't remember exactly when, Verizon transferred all that stuff to AOL. So in a sense, yes, I'm using AOL, but I still have my Verizon. Okay. All right. All right. System crashed. Sorry. Hopefully this works again. All right. Phew. Boy, that was scary. I wasn't sure I was going to get there in time. So the system crashed. Interesting. Huh. All right. But anyway, it looks like I'm back. I got here in time. Okay. All right, we're good. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, so where the heck are we here? Okay, let's turn off the, no, I don't want that. I want that, okay. So interesting. That was not a good thing. Okay, so hang on, I'm gonna try and do this again. All right. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Wow, that was scary. Okay. Let me try this again. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go here, use the device. That guy right there. So at this point, it should boot to the Linux Mint guy. We'll see how this goes. There we go. All right, Daka, thank you for showing up. First was Hart. Now, you must be, I'm assuming you're in the UK or in the EU someplace. To the best of my knowledge, the very first doctor for us here in America was Tom Baker. All right, we're going to Sorry about this. This is just it picked up the 4K. So everything's going to be a little tiny, and I apologize ahead of time. Let me see if I can, Jesus, I can't even see it that well. Display settings. Let's see if I can change this. Oh, man, I'm having a hard time seeing it. Wow. I think that's the right one. Okay. Yeah, all right. That's better. I had a hard time seeing that. Oh my God. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. There we go. Wow. All right. English, yes. English US, yes. Boy, that was freaking tiny. Install multimedias. Continue. Now, I think at this point, yes, installing alongside Windows Boot Manager. Now, I don't remember if it's going to automatically take half the drive or let me adjust it. I can adjust it later if I have to. Okay, good. It did. So it's trying to split the drive in half, and that I'm not interested in that. I don't need a lot of room for the Linux stuff, so I'm going to shrink that down that way, just like that. So that's my Windows stuff. There's my Linux Mint stuff. What do I use Linux for? Honestly, I don't really use Linux for anything really. But I like to keep it on the system because I like to at least refresh my memory of how the system works. So I don't really use it for anything. I do have both. Well, it installs by default Firefox and Thunderbird on Linux. So typically what I'll do is I'll boot to Linux once a month. I'll do some web browsing. I'll have Thunderbird catch up with the Windows partition version. I'll check for updates and kernels and so forth and so on. And I'll play around with it for, I don't know, maybe an hour or two. And then I'll be like, okay, I've done everything I want to do here. And I go back to Windows because I game. Okay? And gaming on Linux isn't there yet. It's getting better, but it's not there yet. And I would say at least half the games that I have don't run on Linux. And I think half might be generous. So, you know, at some point, will I go Linux entirely? I'm not sure. But I can see a day coming when I'm going to be migrating most of my activities there. It hasn't arrived yet. We're not there yet. But again, this should be enough for that. We're going to hit install now. And let's see, before you select the new partition size, any previous changes have to be written to disk. And it's just warning me that it's going to shrink the Windows partition and do this. So we're just going to hit continue. If you continue, changes listed will be written, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's giving you multiple warnings that it's going to do things. That's all. And New York, yes, I'll change it later because I'm very quirky this way. I'm a ham radio operator. So systems that I use every day are set to GMT/UTC. And I'll fix this later, but that's just a quirk of me. All right, and we're going to do the same thing here. I will put a password in because you kind of have to. I mean, you can set it to log in automatically if you want to. I never really do that. And yes, my password is not the greatest, but guess what? Again, it's a gaming system. I'm not concerned. I mean, I could just hit this here, not unencrypt, but this one here, log in automatically, and I don't have to put in a password, but I feel a little more comfortable doing it this way. And everybody has their ways that they want to do things. This is mine. Run Atomic Hearts. I don't know what that is. I assume it's a game. Long Dog, I'm just scrolling back, so Long Dog, I've been doing dual boot systems for a long time. There was a point where I had a machine that would boot to MS-DOS, OS2, Warp, Windows, either XP or 2000. And at the time, I think I was using Mandrake Linux. Mandrake Linux hasn't been around for a while. So, 4. You feel lucky, punk? And again, this is just going to go through its thing. And we'll be done at some point. Ryan, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but when I go into Steam and I go looking for certain games that I like to play, there is no download available. The games are Windows, period. They don't run on Mac, they don't run on Linux. Yeah, Mandrake went to Mandriva, and I don't remember what it's called now. It's something else with an M name, I believe. Have to activate the Proton settings in Steam. Okay. Well, that's something for me to experiment with. Okay. Like I said, I don't keep up with what's going on in the Linux world because it's not my daily driver. Also, keep in mind, although Windows is my daily driver as far as the operating system is concerned, I don't use most Microsoft products. For example, I don't have a Microsoft account. I don't want one. I don't run Office, whether it's Office 365, whether it's the standalone version, which I think you can still get the 2021 version as standalone. I don't run Office. I never have. I'll run LibreOffice or I will run OpenOffice. I don't use Outlook. I use Thunderbird. I don't use Microsoft Edge. I use Firefox. So I'll use the operating system, but when it comes to things that I want to get done, I stay as far away from Microsoft products as I can. I'm just reading through here. 25 people viewing, it looks like, from what I'm seeing. Hey, Sangoat. Been a while since I think I've seen you. Thanks for stopping in. Daco, Mother's PC, Windows 10. Due after October. So I'm assuming it's an old machine. Do you happen to know what CPU it's running? All right, so I'm going to restart now. And it's probably going to tell me to pull out the drive. Yeah. Press enter. Okay, now I'll fix this later, but right now it defaults to wanting to boot into Linux as opposed to Windows by default. I will fix that later. I'm going to just real quick here go back into Windows. Okay, so everything's fine. Everything's here. Again, once I get all of the other software reloaded, things will come back. I have a lot of things I have to do, a lot of work I have to do. And I'm definitely not going to live stream that because we'll be here till midnight at the earliest. So there you go. All right, so anyway, that's done. Now, part of the reason why I don't leave it at Linux as the default that it boots to is because when I do Windows updates and it wants to restart the machine, I want to be back in Windows. And if I walk away to either grab a cup of coffee or grab a soda or something, 9 times out of 10, when I come back to the machine, it's sitting in Linux. So I find that a little annoying. Some of you who are Linux fanboys are going, no, that's perfectly fine. And I understand that. But yeah, so I'll fix that later. All right, so let's go back into here. Let's go back into here. Let's do restart. I'm going to go back into the Linux system. Yeah, it defaults to Linux. As you see, if I let it sit here long enough, it will go ahead and it will, there you go. It's off to the races. So, and it's back at 4K, I think. Yeah, welcome to Linux Mint. Go back in here, see if I can see this. This is so freaking tiny. I can't tell what's what here. All right, we'll keep these changes for now. Okay, now I can see it. There we go. So let's go back in here. That's what I wanted. It was the second choice. So that's 2K. That's probably going to be tiny for, but it's not that bad. So there we go. Don't need to show that at startup. Close that. And close that. Now I still have some work to do with this, but there you go. I think that's going to probably be it. Only an hour and a half worth of stream. That's not too bad. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. Let me go here and change this over to here. Okay. So anyway, that's the story. Let me get into this. Go to here. I'm going to close this down. for now. Like I said, I've got hours and hours of work to get this back where I belong. Hopefully by sometime tonight, I'll have it back together. So I'll shut that down. All right, so there we are, we're done. Done, everybody's done? Yep, okay, everybody's done. All right. Okay. So there we go. Take that, put that up there. Grab this. Oh my God. It may be a micro ATX case, but with everything in it, it's still bloody freaking heavy. So, oh my God. All right, so let me go look at the chat. Let me see what's going on here. Backup application I'm using is in the video notes. If you scroll down to look at the description, you'll find it. All right, George, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm just going to scroll back a little bit, see, make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Libra and OpenOffice. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen the other for me. I've typically installed OpenOffice, but I'm kind of sort of transitioning to LibreOffice. Let's see. I'm just looking through here, guys. So just, bear with me a minute. Yeah, George is right. Depending on what your use case is, I mean, if all your grandmother or mother or whoever it might be, if all they do is browse the web, order on Amazon, which is web browser, watch YouTube, and they look at their email online as opposed to using Outlook or something like that, Linux is a perfectly valid substitute. It's perfectly valid. Ryan, no, I don't have to go into the BIOS. I'll edit the grub config file and just have it set as Windows as default. Because I want that screen. I want that boot up screen that asks me what do I want to boot to. 87 has a mini PC. Pretty good. Worry about Windows 10. I assume that's Windows 10 end of life. Mini PC is not compatible. Okay. Well, okay. Well, you could certainly get her another mini PC. It's not like, again, depending on the load, most of the mini PCs, they're like N100s, N150s, N95s. They're not the greatest in the world, but for somebody who just does the basics, it's fine. It's fine. And you can use the program that I use. You can pull all her stuff off of the old machine, blast it onto the new one. So you've got that. Well, John, I'm glad it was fun for you. I appreciate that. George, also thanks. And let's see. I think we're there. What's your approach? Well, as I just mentioned, I'll go in and I'll change the grub config file. I don't have to touch Windows. I don't have to touch any of the boot files in Windows. I don't do any of that crap. I'll go in, and I forget the exact procedure, but I'll find it. I think I already found it online. I just haven't. Again, I don't do this enough to remember that, oh yes, this is how that goes. And so I need to look it up because I installed Linux Mint 4 years ago. The same time I installed the Windows 10, the gaming system, whatever. I installed that years ago, and I don't remember how to go into the grep file and change the things that I need to change. So, but it's no big deal. It's a Google search. I'll find it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, do this, do that, and then save it, and I'm done. It's not that big of a deal. Am I going to run a course on Linux for us lower mortals? I'm not sure. I really am not sure. I did do, if you look at my history, look at the pre-recorded videos, I have done a couple of walkthroughs on some very basic stuff with Linux. I have done them, but they're at least, I want to say 2 years old now. Something like that. I think they're like 2 years old. So, you know, things change. You'll also find when 11 came out, the ways that I used to go around to get it installed on unsupported hardware, those things have changed. You now have Rufus. You don't have to worry about it. But am I going to do? Honestly, I don't really think so. There would have to be a demand for it. And there are so many Linux channels on YouTube. A lot of them will get you through that stuff. And again, I have a very basic understanding, so there's only so far that I'm going to be able to go with it anyway. Maybe. The answer is maybe, but nobody's really clamoring for it. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Now comes the tedious part that you guys aren't going to see. And aren't you so thankful for that? Because I know that if I was you, I'd be thankful for that too. Where I have to piece everything back together. It's a process. It'll get done. But it's going to take me at least the rest of the day and probably the next maybe day or two as I discover things like, oh yeah, this thing needs to be done. I need to do this, and so forth and so on. So yeah, not looking forward to it, but I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, I've started the process, I got to finish it. And as I said, everything that I need is still here. So I didn't sacrifice anything. If I find that the PC data backup that I used, if it missed something, it's okay. I still have this. Put it in an enclosure, plug it in, transfer what I need to transfer. Not a big deal. Anyway. All right, I think that's it. Let me get out of here. I got to get this back upstairs. And it's going to be a process for me. Via Laporte. Untitled Linux show. Video is Club Twit exclusive. Okay. Weekly Linux show. I mean, he covers a lot of this stuff. A lot of people cover this stuff. I don't know that it's worth me covering it. Okay. All right. Let me get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. For those of you in the UK, have a good evening. I don't know when the next live stream is going to be. Or if there what next video there's going to be. I do videos as I have projects to do. The projects don't come very often. The wife system is next. The wife system is still on Windows 10. It's on an MBR disk, so I've got to transform it to GPT. I also have a processor upgrade that I need to do for her. She has a 3400G, and here's a brand spanking new 5700G. So when I get her all done, she'll have a processor so probably twice as fast, because the 3400G is 4 cores, 8 threads. The 5700G is 8 cores, 16 threads. So it's literally twice the processing power. So I'll do that on the live stream. I got to do the BIOS upgrade. I got to do the CPU swap. I got to convert over from MBR to GPT. So I will live stream that. I just don't know when I'm going to get to it. Because, you know, nobody wants to incur the wrath. I don't. I value my life. So I have to tread very carefully when it comes to her machine. I built it, so I know what I'm doing, but sometimes I don't think she has enough faith in me. Probably for a good reason. Anyway, see you guys later. I'll be back. I just don't know when. Have a good evening. Bye.